So the first gym myth that we want to debunk is, and it drives me insane, the whole concept that to be avoided is absurd.
I don't think anything annoys me as much as the myth that this is something that a lot of quick YouTube videos play to. You can target one area of your body and reduce that area alone. You have to think of your body as a network.
That would mean that we'd have to cut out practically every single food in our diet. The things that you want to be cutting out are the things that are...
Another myth that comes up a lot. Go.
Bodies can only really handle so much.
It's about being smart with it. The final gym myth we have, and this is a big one.
Ultimately, the most controversial
It's killing the gains.
Right. Hello and welcome.
Oh, you might need your phone actually, because it's going to be too long for us to look over there.
Adjust it up.
I know, I'm so sorry. You're kind of clumsy.
I am so not.
You're also in denial. As though we haven't taken long enough already.
We've eaten, we listened to songs.
And I'm going to make you chicken after.
Yes.
We'll make chicken and we'll play some music.
Oh my god, basically just asked me to marry me.
I thought you said, if anybody buys you Taylor Swift concert tickets, then you're married.
Yeah, I did.
So if I bought you those tickets...
I would marry you. I'm being deadly serious.
We're basically in a relationship anyway.
Did you buy me them?
No, I didn't. We are back with another podcast.
And today we're going to be talking about more gym myths.
Yes.
There are so many floating around the fitness industry. We thought we definitely need to make a part 2.
Absolutely.
So the first gym myth that we want to debunk is carbs are the enemy. That is something I hear all the time and it drives me insane. The whole concept that a whole entire food group is bad for you and should be avoided is absurd. So what better place for you guys to go than here to listen to why that is a lie.
Yeah, listen to Abby's big rant, and it is a very fair rant.
It is.
So shoot.
So a carb is made up of single sugar molecules. Now sugar is an ingredient that is practically in everything. Now when we think of sugar, we ultimately think of chocolate and we think of sweets. Sugar is something that our body does actually need. There are just different forms of it. A big form of sugar is something called lactose, which is in milk. But you wouldn't think milk is particularly bad for you, would you?
I mean, you're talking to the lactose intolerant person.
Okay. So... Tough crowd. But yeah, that's my point. You've got the one that everybody's heard of, which is glucose. Near enough every single food, this includes fruits and vegetables as well, do contain somewhat an element of sugar. And that is then what makes it a carbohydrate. When we say that carbs are the enemy, that would mean that we'd have to cut out practically every single food in our diet, in our society, which is crazy, and we'd never do it. What we need to do is we need to separate carbs into categories. You have simple carbs and you have complex carbs. Now, complex carbs are things that you do want to be eating more of. They are things that are starchy. They are things like pastas, rices, bread, quinoa, potatoes. These are things that should be the main component of your meal. This is where your energy comes from, predominantly. You need this for fuel. You do. The things that you want to be cutting out are the things that are more around the confectionaries and the chocolates and pastries, because they contain a lot more sugar and they're a lot higher calorie and they have a lot of other effects on your body. These are the things that spike your blood sugar levels, that block certain hormones such as leptin, which is your hormone that tells you that you're full. This blocks that, so you're not getting a signal to your brain that you're full, which will cause you to overeat.
Yeah.
That is pretty much it broken down.
As a target, we should be having a daily intake of 50% carbohydrates, which in itself debunks this myth that carbs are the enemy. Take it from her, the soon-to-be qualified nutritionist.
Give me a myth that really annoys you, that you hear a lot.
I don't think anything annoys me as much as the myth that carbs are bad annoys you. The one I hear a lot is that you can spot reduce fat. What that means is that you can target one area of your body and reduce that area alone. The reason why it's a myth is because anytime you work any area of your body, even if you are working to target a particular muscle group, you are still going to use other parts of your body in order to do that. Love handles or bingo wings, I know that they're very popular as areas to spot fat in. This is something that a lot of quick YouTube videos play to, is target your love handles.
Yes.
So that's something to look out for. Another part of this myth is that if you are training to target those areas, you don't think about how other areas of your body are going to look and feel as a result of that. So in the past, I've trained abs just because I've wanted a toned stomach, but then I end up training it in such a way where I look different to what I would have expected. My obliques will grow out.
That's the big one, isn't it? All these exercises that are really going to hit the obliques, and all that's going to do is make you seem like you have a wider rib cage.
Yeah.
It's not going to make you look like you have a cinched waist.
Yeah. You have to think of your body as a network, so everything works and coordinates to do something, to perform any kind of movement. Say you're targeting your glute muscles, so your butt muscles, you're still going to be incorporating your quads and your hamstrings within some of those exercises, like hip thrusts or RDLs.
I think that's a really good point.
Another myth that comes up a lot. Go.
Mine is going to be very based on the food side, because these are the ones that annoy me the most, and obviously they are linked to the gym. I think a huge one is this whole stigma around protein. Everybody loves protein, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't use protein, and neither are you. But it's a huge trend, and instantly everybody associates protein with being healthy. So I'm not here to say that we should not be having protein and that protein is bad for you, because no, you do need protein. It is a very, very big component in helping your muscles grow and repair. However, there is only so much that our body can actually metabolize. Most research has found that our bodies can only absorb between 20 to 30 grams of protein a meal. So sitting there trying to have a huge 50-gram shake with, 2 huge chicken breasts and a protein bar for dessert is just pointless, because your body can't actually metabolize it. If you just like the taste of it, go ahead, but
let's face it, no one likes the taste of protein powder.
Nobody likes the taste.
Everyone's trying to avoid it as much as they can.
No one likes the taste. Yeah, our bodies can only really handle so much.
It's about being smart with it, right? So we know we need it, but it's about knowing where that threshold is per meal. Like we're saying, between 20 grams and 30 on average. So that's still quite a high amount of protein. So it is important to keep that intake high.
Yeah.
But it's just about doing it in a way that serves a purpose. The flip side of this is the impact of having too much protein, and what can that do?
I am somebody that has kidney problems. So people that have kidney and liver problems specifically should be limiting their protein. If you are somebody that does have any sort of problem in that section, please go to your GP or doctor. So overall there are 20 amino acids. Now 9 of these are essential, so these the body can make itself. However, 11 of these are indispensable, which means the body cannot produce them, which means we have to get them from our diet. Now this can look like whole foods, this can look like supplementation. These amino acids, these form something called ammonia when they are broken down and they go into the kidneys, and eventually they are excreted out of the body. So ammonia is a very toxic substance. So what our body does to safely convert it so that it can be stored in the body whilst it's waiting to leave, is it turns it into something called urea. Now urea is the safer conversion. However, if we are consuming so much protein, it's making the body work harder and harder to manage to convert this substance. Okay, it's putting extra pressure on the kidneys, extra pressure on the liver. Now your body will be able to do this. However, especially if you have problems, it's just making it work that extra that extra bit that it doesn't need to work.
Yeah.
So this is why you should be careful when consuming it. It is just a consideration.
Yeah, everything you've said is absolutely spot on. And that's so true, that if your intake is really high, then you're demanding more of your body. So that's definitely going to have an impact on your bodily systems. Yeah. And how you're going to digest that protein too. On average, it's 1.6 grams of protein per kg of body weight that you need to grow muscle. And then 0.8 to 1.2 grams is a regular intake per kg of body weight. Figures and stats are all well and good, but this will vary between people. So take that as just a guide rather than an absolute. Really, you should be getting as much protein as you can from your natural diet. So whole foods of any kind. If you're eating meat in your diet, then chicken's a great option. I eat a lot of chicken.
We love chicken.
Confirm that it's great. Yeah, any lean bird. Fish is really great, as well as for protein, it's great for omega-3. So 2 in 1. If you don't eat meat, then there's loads of vegetarian and vegan options like tempeh, soya and tofu, lentils and pulses. Supplementation is great to help you boost that protein intake. So, I mean, I have protein powders and protein bars.
Yeah.
But I think an important consideration is to not make that your main source of protein intake. So you want to aim for something that's 20 grams per scoop or per bar and above. Something that you were saying earlier is that lots of things that advertise as high protein, supermarkets and sellers know that this is a hype and that it's going to really draw people in, so they'll advertise things as being high protein when actually they're not.
No.
So the average protein bar in a supermarket will have about 8 grams in it, and that's nothing. That's not going to do anything for you.
Basically, you might as well just buy a pack of eggs.
Yeah. It's just a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of an opportunity to actually eat something that is high protein.
Yeah. Just remember, protein is very good for you, and everything that we've said is true, and do consider it and take it as you will. That doesn't mean that you should be neglecting other food groups, so you do still need to be getting your carbohydrates and your fats, vitamins and minerals and all of that stuff as well. So please don't neglect other food groups to compensate for protein. So steering away from the food and back to the gym side, give me another myth that you hear a lot.
That a longer workout is a better workout.
Okay.
There's a lot of praise given to workouts being long, so just being in the gym for hours means that, oh, you must be doing more. That's such a myth. It's not true. Time doesn't really mean anything. It's all about how effectively you're working. Time at the gym, what does that mean? That doesn't take into account rest time. That doesn't take into account talking time.
No, which we're really good at.
Yeah, trust me. Or setting up between exercises. There's so much that goes into that that's not really thought about. Ultimately, I just don't think that time should be something that's associated as what makes a workout the best workout, a really good workout.
Yeah.
What makes a good workout is paying attention to the intensity of the workouts, with your rep ranges, with progressive overload, if you're going to be doing that, with what workouts you're doing, how you're doing them in a consistent way. If your goal is hypertrophy, so to build muscle, then on average 45 to 60 minutes is the optimal time to be in the gym training in that way.
Yeah, I think that's very true. That is something I do hear a lot. At the end of the day, time is just a number, and again, it just goes back to the old quality versus quantity, And as somebody who used to spend 2 hours in the gym, and if you actually cut that down to the time I was doing something useful, it was probably about 45 minutes. So I really agree.
Yeah. The final gym myth we have, and this is a big one.
Ultimately, the most controversial.
Being vegan is killing the gains.
Veganism is such a big topic. and it is not one that we're here to slate. If you want to be vegan and you want to build muscle in the gym, it is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that a lot of people may say otherwise.
Veganism is controversial because of how the diet lacks so much.
Yeah.
So therefore the natural thought with that is that you're not going to be able to consume enough protein, enough nutrients to support your healthy lifestyle, to support muscle growth.
Yeah, definitely. And protein is always associated as the kind of gym goer magic. It is harder to eat enough protein. This isn't to say it's impossible, because there are enough plant-based options. It is just, however, that little bit harder. You're less likely to find these plant-based options in your regular supermarkets. Mm-hmm. Some of it you can, things like soya, things like tofu, it's possible. However, it's a more limited range. If you want to go out there and try some other ingredients, some other plant-based options, you can, but it will require a lot more research into what there is out there. It's not so readily available.
That's a really good point. It's not so readily available, and therefore you're more inclined to reach for the things that are unhealthier. Yeah. So like really carby things.
Definitely.
That are advertised as being vegan, and that will also be cheaper probably as well.
Definitely.
Because a lot of vegan products are quite expensive because they are, I don't know, maybe harder to source or just less in demand. So yeah, there's a danger there in maybe the diet becoming less healthy.
Yeah.
Should that be your regular option?
That's the thing. And it's just so much easier to then go for something that has got no protein in it, no animal traces, nothing like that in there. So you do start consuming a lot more foods that are higher in carb, higher in calorie, unhealthy fats.
Yeah, that aren't going to support your muscle growth.
No, exactly. That is kind of the biggest concern with veganism. I think the other thing is you are more likely to have certain deficiencies. This is a whole nutritional lesson, which we won't get into, but there will be certain vitamins and minerals that you will be lacking in. Things like iron is very good for your energy levels, which allows you to perform. If you're lacking iron, you're going to be very fatigued. The majority of your iron comes from red meat. Again, there are other sources, it's just harder to come by, and it might involve supplementation. Even things like calcium. Calcium you usually get from dairy products. Obviously, majority of dairy products are sourced from animals, so again, it's something that you're most likely to lack. Calcium is very good for your bone health. Lacking calcium could increase your chance of injury in the gym. It might require you to take another supplement.
Yeah.
So whether being vegan is killing the gains or not, the truth is, it is not. As long as you're paying attention to everything that you eat.
Yeah, you want to ensure that in spite of eating a vegan diet, that you are still getting enough nutritional value and a high protein intake from the alternative foods that you're consuming. We've done the myths.
We have.
We've done the myths.
Yay!
That's everything.
We did the impossible.
It's quite a challenge, really.
Yeah.
To speak about myths, because there's so much weight that goes into them. There's so much controversy around them. There's loads of research.
Yeah.
There's very contradicting and conflicting feelings with lots of what we've spoken about here today.
Every statement that people make, there will always be some sort of research that will either back it up or that will contradict it. Stay on top of new research. There's always going to be new information.
As much as research may be true in its own right, things will also be true for you as an individual too. As much as myths are myths, they do hold a lot of weight and value, and that can be quite dangerous to your own understanding of things that are actually going to benefit you. Don't believe every myth you hear.
No.
Come to us before you do. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you've enjoyed this episode.
As always, we really appreciate all the love and support that we have been getting from you guys. It would mean the world to us if you haven't already for you to like, subscribe and follow.
You have been listening to Gains and Gossip.